These are my top 10 things to do in the world-class city that is Seoul, South Korea. Seoul is a megacity that offers so much for every traveler or tourists that visits. It really effortlessly blends the traditional Korean culture with the modern Korean culture, think K-pop and K-dramas and that sort of thing. And it is located in a beautiful part of the country where there are mountains in and around the city, which is why number one is going to be go to the top of Namsan Mountain to see Seoul Tower. Now there are several ways where you can go to the top of Namsan Mountain, but I recommend you walk up because it's a fun adventure with some amazing views. I recommend you start from Myeongdong Station, you walk up through Cartoon Street, sounds like an adventure already, I'm sure, and you wind up the mountain and you look for these red stairs, and that will tell you that you're on the right path to the mountain. The hike is not too difficult, it's uphill, so keep that in mind. You might need to take some stops to catch your breath, but the views will take your breath away, which maybe it's not good if you're trying to catch your breath, but you get what I'm saying. It's a great experience, and you really want to do this for a sunset if possible, because the sunset views here are amazing. I don't know if it's because of some city smog that like gives the sun a chance to light up the sky even more, and you can see mountains, you can see city views, you can see some water from the rivers nearby. It is probably, I think definitely the best view in all of Seoul, and it's a great way to get a good acquaintance with the city. And you can also take a cable car up to the top if you aren't so interested in walking, and you can go up the observatory tower for Seoul Tower if you're interested, but I think the views at the top of the mountain are good enough. So if you're on a budget, walk up, don't take the cable car, and don't go up the observatory tower. You'll have an amazing time regardless. Number two is going to be rent hanbok. And hanbok is the word in Korean for traditional Korean clothing. I guess it means today. That was really popular towards the end of the 19th century. It's not as common anymore, but Koreans are very hip and happy with their fashion. This is a cool way to embrace the traditional culture in Korea. And you can rent them at places throughout all of the city, but I recommend renting in the Jongno district because it's more traditional here. And you can visit some really cool places that I'll tell you about later while wearing this traditional clothing. And it will feel like you're in a Korean fairy tale or something like that, you know? The place I recommend you rent from is Hanbok Queen. You can rent for different time hours, including 2 hours for 10,000 won, 4 hours for 15,000 won, or for the whole day for 25,000 won. We did 4 hours, which I think was a great amount of time to do some things nearby, and the price really makes sense. It's only 5,000 more for double the time. So that's my recommendation, but rent Hanbok, you will not regret it. It is such a fun, affordable, amazing, unique experience to embrace that traditional culture in Seoul. Now number three is going to be explore the neighborhood of Insadong. I recommend you do this for about half a day or up to a full day, depending. Now for me, Insadong is a neighborhood that effortlessly blends the traditional kind of Korean culture with like kind of like artistic and trendy kind of vibe. So it's a really cool neighborhood for that reason. There are many things you can do here, such as number one, check out Insadong Culture Street. This is like the main area where you can do some good shopping and see some cool stuff. And right off of Insadong Culture Street, you can visit Samji-gil, which is like a 3-story kind of outdoor-indoor shopping mall, all dedicated towards like crafts and the creative kind of arts, which is really cool and interesting to check out.
There, see?
Yay!
Okay.
Google Translate. I really recommend catching lunch at Osegaehyung. It's one of my favorite restaurants in the entire city. It's traditional Korean cuisine where it's sit down, and it's all vegan, which is really good if you're a vegan traveler like me. You can try many delicious, amazing traditional Korean foods, which I want to try these kinds of foods when I travel to a place personally. You can also visit Jogesa, which is a beautiful Korean Buddhist temple full of so many colors and Buddhist statues in a main hall. Great place to walk around and take in some more of like the religious, cultural stuff in Korea. You can also visit Unhyonggung, which is like a small palace which you can visit for free. It's cool, but there's some more, spoiler alert, interesting palaces, wink wink, we'll talk about later in the video, so check it out if you're interested. You can also go to Ikseondong, which is a little Hanok village. I'll tell you more about that later, but it's in the area, and you should definitely finish your time here with some Korean tea in a Korean tea house. There are many traditional Korean tea houses in the area, but this is the one that I recommend. They give you delicious treats and some delicious tea in a beautiful setting. So Insadong, it's my favorite neighborhood in Seoul. I'm just gonna be honest with you and spend about a day exploring it and doing these things if you're interested. Number 4 is going to be visit and eat at Gwangjong Market. Seoul has many markets throughout the city and it's hard to choose just one, but if I had to choose just one, it would be Gwangjong Market. It is big, it's lively, it's definitely popular with tourists, but it's popular with locals as well, and there are so many delicious Korean foods you can try here, namely bindae-tok, which is like a mung bean pancake. To me, I always say it just tastes like a big hash brown that you can dip in like some soy sauce. Not too healthy, but really delicious and tasty as well. You can try other foods here like tteokbokki, which is really popular, like rice cakes and a spicy sauce. You can try japchae, which is like these glass noodles. You can try gimbap, mayak gimbap they call it, which is like Korean version of sushi, but a little bit of a different flavor profile, and much more. It's just a really cool, unique atmosphere with lots of energy and a fun way where you can sit at these little counters or tables, maybe interact with some locals or try some really authentic Korean food in a cool setting. Now, I may not be Sherlock Holmes, but I think it's a very good chance that if you're watching this video, you're interested in visiting Seoul and maybe you're gonna book a trip there now or sometime in the future. So if you're looking for hotels, I really recommend using this new place called Planin.com. Now what Planin.com does is they work in combination with like websites you know, such as Agoda, Priceline, Booking.com to find you the best deals possible. You can get up to 40% off on select hotels. And what's even cooler about Planin is that they really allow creators to make their own profile and show you the hotels that they stayed at and that they recommend. They can write their own sort of review and show content that they have of that hotel. So it gives you a better, more informed decision. And you can see people that maybe travel a similar style to you or have similar preferences, or you want to emulate their sort of trip. You can choose the hotels that they recommend or just see other people's recommendations rather than just some stranger that would leave a like anonymous review on some website. So all you need to do is sign up for free. Click the link down in the description below to sign up and get, again, those reviews, recommendations, and up to 40% off, all available to you on Planin.com. Now, number 5 is going to be having a night out in Hongdae, which is another amazing neighborhood they should check out in Seoul. Now, Hongdae is popular for like younger people. It's more of a college town because they have a Hongik University right nearby, and it's very energetic. It's lively, especially at night, and many people like to go out here and eat and drink and socialize and all that sort of thing. So you should check it out yourself. Now, in Hongdae at night, there's lots of beautiful, bright lights, and you can see lots of street performers, young people doing some like singing or dancing routines, which is really fun. But I really recommend you start your night out at this bar/restaurant called Joseon Dynasty. It's beautiful. You walk down these stairs with this neon light to enter this really traditional kind of setting, but it's really young and energetic. You know, I'm kind of gonna say that a lot because that really does epitomize the atmosphere and vibe of Hongdae. But it's a great place to try some Korean drinks like soju and some other things, makgeolli as well. Really cool spot. And then move on from Joseon Dynasty and check out La Luz, which doesn't sound very Korean, sounds Hispanic or something like that. But this is like a really big arcade bar or game bar, and all you need to do is just buy a couple drinks and you can play like all of these games. It's really fun, a great way to do some more fun things besides just sitting at a loud bar, yelling at someone, trying to talk. So go to La Luz, play some games, have fun, and then after this, take things up another level and let out your energy with some noraebang. Now, noraebang is the Korean word for karaoke or karaoke, and it's different than maybe it is in the West because they like to do it in a private room setting where you can just go with you alone or some buddies or some close friends or maybe some people that you've met out at the bars that night and sing to your heart's content. You can rent a room for like an hour or two and just really let it loose without a whole crowd of strangers judging you. And if you're still feeling yourself, go out more, see what their night takes you. Maybe you want to go clubbing, go to some more restaurants, or get some like late night street food, but you'll have an amazing night out in Hongdae doing these sorts of things that I recommend for you here. Now, number 6 is to visit Hanok villages. Now, Hanok villages, not to be confused with Hanbok, are little settlements or neighborhoods, I guess, in the city of Seoul that are filled of these beautiful Hanok like buildings, I guess you can call them, where they're really beautiful and traditional. They're made of like wood and stone. They're really popular back in the Joseon Dynasty, and walking through these neighborhoods makes you feel like you're walking back in like historic Korea, especially when you're wearing a hanbok, because this is one of the places I really recommend you explore when wearing wearing your hanbok that you rent. And here are some Hanok villages that I recommend you check out. Number 1 is the Bukhansan Hanok village. It's the most popular and iconic in the city of Seoul. It's really beautiful, it's really vast, it's in this hilly sort of neighborhood. You can get some great views of the city here as well, but try and be quiet because it's still actually residential and it's really popular with tourists, so don't disturb the locals more than you really have to, and just enjoy it. Take it in, get some pictures, and feel like you're getting lost in this beautiful traditional area of Seoul. Next is the Namsan Hanok village, and if you noticed, it has the word Namsan in it because it is at the base of Namsan Mountain that I mentioned earlier, a really good hiking spot.
We made it, everybody. Namsan Hanok village.
So this is less residential and more of like a preserved site for tourists. It's free to enter as well, and it's really cool and magical to walk around and explore. Great spot for photos as well if you're wearing hanbok or just meandering like I was through the area. And finally, Insadong Hanok village. This is a place I was referring to in Insadong, but it's less traditional, it's less, preserved that way. It's more trendy and cutesy and coupley, like a date spot. A good place to like shop and eat and that sort of thing. Less traditional, so I wouldn't recommend going for that reason, but it's a cool little neighborhood within a neighborhood to walk around and check out and see lots of locals at as well. Next is to visit palaces in Seoul. And Seoul, I think, has 5 main palaces, and these are great places that you can visit wearing your hanbok as well, because it gives that like Korean fairy tale, traditional sort of setting vibe where you're like back in time. And some of the palaces you can actually enter for free if you're wearing a hanbok, such as Gyeongbokgung Palace, which is my number 1 recommendation. Probably, it's the most famous and iconic palace in all of Seoul. And there's actually a pretty vast area, including some like main halls, some sort of like green open areas, some like residential quarters that they used to use back in the day, and some pagoda sort of structures for you to check out as well. Really cool. I also recommend checking out Cheongdeokgung Palace, just a little bit east of Gyeongbokgung. This is a little bit more varied as far as the setting. It has maybe less main halls, but it has a secret garden you can visit in the back, which is a really cool setting to explore as well. These are 2 of my favorite palaces in Seoul, and there's more if you want to do that sort of thing, but it's a great place to start off with. Now 8 is going to be visit some of Seoul's amazing parks, because Seoul might be my favorite city in the entire world where it comes to parks, because they are beautiful and they're really, people in Korea really have a good taste for like aesthetics and vibes and decoration, and they really do a good job here with the natural settings as well. Some of my recommendations for parks in Seoul are going to be number 1, Olympic Park. As the name implies, this is like Olympic themed because Seoul hosted the Olympics, and it has a really big wide area for you to walk around, including some different gardens with some beautiful flowers on display if you're there during the right season. Has some ponds for you to visit as well, lots of sculptures, city views, and of course the Olympic area, and so much more. It's a really big park, and you can easily spend a few hours here walking around. I also recommend Seoul Forest Park. This is a lot different to Olympic Park because it's more forested and woodsy, as the name implies. It's also really big, lots of different gardens and areas for you to check out and explore. It has some ponds as well, and it even has like a deer enclosure kind of area. So a different vibe, more for exercising as well if you want to walk around or run or feel a little bit more in nature than Olympic Park, but a really cool place as well. Maybe my favorite park in the entire city is Hanok Park. This is located at the top of like a hill or like a small mountain, and it has amazing city views. Some of the best, close to being as good as Namsan Mountain, views of the entire city of Seoul. And if you go during the fall time, they actually have a silver grass that is growing, which you can walk through. It makes you feel like you're in a fairy tale. Again, I love it. It also has pink grass on display as well. You can get popular with the local people, and you do have to walk up the mountain, so that can be a little bit tiring, but it's so cool. It really is a truly unique and beautiful place in Seoul that I'll always remember. Now, number 9 is the Starfield Co-X Mall. This is actually located in the neighborhood of Gangnam, which I have not mentioned yet, and it's probably the most famous neighborhood in Seoul because of the song, that one song, which actually has a statue, the Gangnam style statue, which is located right outside of the Starfield Co-X Mall. Go there, listen to the song, take your picture.
Taking autographs later.
and then head inside one of the nicest malls you'll ever see in your life because it's super modern, has a futuristic sort of vibe and setting, especially when you go deeper inside and go to the Starfield Coex library. This has like an escalator going through the library. It's really beautiful, has a futuristic kind of vibe, and has the beautiful Korean like words and letters that gives it a really cool, iconic like look, and great for photos as well. Maybe not best for like a cozy sort of library where you rent a book and just read it or something like that, but really cool for tourists like me and you. And finally, let's talk about number 10, Bukhansan National Park. Now, crazily, there is a national park, not smack dab in Seoul, but within the city of Seoul, and you can reach it maybe about like 40 minutes from Yeongdong Station, which is like in the center of Seoul, taking public transportation. And at Bukhansan National Park, you can have some amazing mountain hikes with some unparalleled beauty and views of the Seoul area. You can even climb the second tallest mountain in the entire country of South Korea and see, maybe on a clear day, all the way to the border between South and North Korea, which is really crazy. You can see just how vast and wide the Seoul metropolitan area is. It's great for adventure lovers, nature lovers, or if you want to see some fall foliage, this is like my favorite spot to see it in the entire Seoul area. Whether you're super into hiking or the outdoors, I still recommend you check it out. But if you are, this might just be your favorite thing you'll do in Seoul. So that's it, everybody. Those are my top 10 things to do in Seoul, South Korea. Now, just a disclaimer, I'm missing out on many amazing things. I can't cover it all, so I might make a more comprehensive, like 50 things or something, covering each individual thing I did, maybe things I ate, and so much more. So let me know if you're interested in a more of a comprehensive list like that down in the comments below. So what do you think, guys? Do you like my list? Which of these look the most interesting to you? Are you planning on visiting Seoul anytime soon? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.